Well, if you didn't think buying this rusty old tub in the Welsh version of the upside down wasn't mistake enough, today's video is about a series of mistakes. See if you can spot the first one. Leave us a comment before the reveal. Measure twice, cut once. Or is it measure once, cut twice? Measure once, cut twice this time. I don't know how this has happened. Look at that. I've measured that. And for some reason, we're short. That was the measurement I made. But did I measure wrong? Let's have a look. Or did I cut wrong? Let's see. So let us measure. And that is, I did it 535, give us a bit of additional tolerance. And somehow the plate is 460. Very strange. Right, we'll keep that for another day. I don't know what we'll use that for, but no doubt that'll come in handy somewhere. So we cut out, partially cut out here because I've got to put this radius in here. The reason I didn't put it in initially is because I just want to make sure that back edge lines up nice and square with the side of the boat. So I wanted a little bit of overhang. So we'll cut that in. And also we'll probably be bringing this a little bit further back when we start cutting the steel up for here.
The whole world is white. There's snow everywhere from the storm last night. Winter is here. Blue jays are watching the children.
Sadly, today's a bit of a write-off. Tried to get into the boat, but there's rather a lot of snow on the road. It's a bit chilly and snowy, and we made it halfway there, but then there was traffic, and I think a lot of cars just weren't able to get through the snow, so they held us back for ages. We got onto a roundabout and came back. It's chilly. It's about -1 again, and I've had some comments from Canada saying, oh, -1's nothing, we get -30. That sounds pretty horrendous, but I must admit though, and you must admit in Canada as well, that sort of round about 0 degrees, -1, 1 degrees, that horrible transitional state weather is much worse than -30. I know it's chilly and it probably provides its problems, but I hate this kind of in between. If it's -5, it gets a lot drier and crisper and a little bit sweeter to be out in. Anyway, day off. I'm going to go back in more Call of Duty. Right, another day, another dollar. That's what they say. It's chucking it down with rain now. It was snowy yesterday. We weren't able to get down here. Today it's raining. It's a little bit warmer, but it's still cold. I think the first thing I'll do is put the heater on. I'm obviously moaning about the cold. Hopefully soon I'll be moaning about the heat. We've got about 2 months of this grotty cold weather now. January and February, that's the icy cold weather. And then hopefully spring will start to appear. Okay, I'll get some lights on and we'll get on with this. So this is where we left off last time. We cut out here. We've made our second piece of plate to go in here because we made a mistake with the first one. But talking about mistakes, we've got more mistakes. You remember last time, I realised this after I did it later on that afternoon, or I thought about it, and then quite a few of you mentioned it in the comments. It was about the angle here, and I've cut this off perpendicular, and it had a kind of a run-off angle, and a few of you have said that's probably for the water to run off so it doesn't pool here at the back of the boat, and I think you're absolutely right. I thought about that later, and that kind of scuppered my plans because I can repair this. You can probably see we've lost a few mil there. It's about 11 mil, but part of this is actually the weld and the existing plate. So we should be able to do a repair on that, and that's not too much of a problem. But my concern is this. What I wanted to do, which was not part of the original design, if you remember, we've took the whole of this back out now. So part of this sort of old transom, come round here camera, slow gimbal, that's as fast as it goes. So we lose some of the structural strength and we lose some of the torsional strength. And to try and help stiffen that up, I'm going to be doing some other bits and pieces. Is I wanted to plate, instead of plating this just coming to here, this is the bathing platform, swim platform, or whatever you call it, from wherever you're from. It ended here and went at an angle. I wanted it to go all the way across into here to support all the way across, to have some structural rigidity with some bars across the boat. And the idea was it was going to come to here, but beyond, because you'll see here on the outside of the boat, that rubbing straight comes along here to here. And this top steel section, I wanted to actually be part of that bathing platform that came across for us to fabricate this rubbing straight that comes around here and round the back. Now, he's clicking away now. If I don't have that straight though, it's a bit awkward because then we don't get this straight line that comes all the way from that rubbing straight round here. So I'm going to have a think about it. I'm going to leave it as it is for the time being and just have a little think, because one of the things we can do is we could have it at 90 degrees perpendicular, but we could put some scuppers in the actual bathing platform itself. I'm going to have a think about the consequences of that. They're easy to do. I'll have a little think about what that's going to mean, but that's one possible solution. Or I could just go back to the original shape, which I'd got it into my head I wanted to do it this way, but it's never too late to change your mind. So we'll just leave this cut for now. We'll think about that a little bit more, but that was another mistake that I made. Anyway, it is a week for mistakes. So let's get on then with putting the steel in here. I've got to cut the radius here once we get it all lined up. So I just wanted to put some of this high zinc primer on here because this is the back of the steel, and it's a little bit harder to get to, and we'll not be welding that up until we've shot blasted and cleaned up the inside, and that'll be coming later. So for now it'll just stop it from flash rusting and getting messy, and it's weld through, so it doesn't matter. We could be welding on the front, it shouldn't affect the weld too much. Right, let that dry. The problem I've got with this one is it's a little bit longer, and the transom, the stern of the boat, it curves. So I've got to do a technique where I tack weld it bit by bit so that the plate will actually follow the curve. So I'm going to have to do quite a few tack welds before I actually do a weld on this to hopefully get the shape right. Right, there we have it, the plate's in, and that's good for now. So that's just the zinc weld through primer again. This is temporary, just keep everything nice, because at some stage we'll be blasting this. We'll be dry blasting parts and we'll wet blasting other parts as well. There is another consideration I wanted to make as well, is this is an idea that's been going through my head. We have the ladders here that go up to the top, and this is how you get onto the bathing platform. I always think they're a little bit precarious, especially for a fat old dude and his beautiful wife who's a little bit more dainty, but also because it would cover up any hatches that we decide to put in the back. So I'd had this idea to make some spiral steps that come down here, and I've seen that done on other boats, but I'm not 100% convinced yet, because I'm not quite sure exactly where the steps will start and whether they're going to be a little bit too steep to do that. But I'm going to have a think, because if we did that anyway, it wouldn't matter where this came to, because we'd be putting some steps in that would come out to here. let me know what you think about the idea about the spiral steps coming down. I've seen other boats with similar steps, but I'm not convinced of the same dimensions. Okay, so there's a couple of jobs I'm going to intentionally not finish. The first one is I'm not going to put this plate in this side right now, because I'm still trying to make my mind up what I want to do when it comes to this bathing platform. And as I've said, I've been thinking about the spiral stairs solution. I'm not 100% sure, but also I want a slight change of stimulus. And the other thing that I'm going to not finish for now is just continue cleaning this edge up. There's only a small amount left to clean up. Some of it's underneath this support post, which we've got to move. But again, change of stimulus for me and for you. Just grinding away at this stern constantly is boring content, and is also boring for this fat old dude to keep coming down. And I want to get into something that's related. So the rudder stock assembly that needs to go back in. Now that needs all cleaning up. It needs blasting. It needs a little bit of steelwork putting on it. It needs prepping, and it needs putting into exact place so we can measure up to cut the holes in the hull. So what I want to do now is I want to maneuver it into place and probably suspend it so we can see what we're dealing with. We can measure up and we can start cleaning that up. So today we're going to do some rudder stock stuff. Okay, here we are in the back cabin. It's a bit... I only just put a new cover on this, and already you're looking a little bit weak. Anyhow, in the back cabin, by my feet that you can't see, is the rudder stock. So last time we moved this, I moved this with Simon, a little bit of muscle. I've got to try and move it on my own. So I'll just slide this around. You can watch the action. Right, I've got the microphone on, so you can hear all the puffing and panting. Put my gloves on, not just for the manhandling, because it's freezing in here. I can't wait for the summer. Apparently this year the summer's going to fall on a weekend. That'll be cool. Right, Sean, I better not grab that by Simon's weld. Now the issue is it's got to slide past those posts. That's the only issue. And I need to get some eyes welded on so I can lift it. Right. Okay, so another mistake made. Recently, I've not been getting very good welds. And I thought that's just me revisiting the weld and being a little bit lazy, not getting up close and doing it at arm's length. But mainly because, I was only doing small bits in a day rather than spending several hours doing it. You tend to get better as you go. But the welds seem to be very spluttery, not so good. And I've just noticed that when I changed the regulator, the scale's completely different. I didn't like the other regulator because usually I set the flow rate to about 12 or 15 litres per minute. That's what I have it here indoors. And it was about that far up the scale. It was really a really large scale, and I didn't like that, but it was the only regulator they had in the place when I bought it. When I exchanged that regulator, because it went faulty, it's got a different regulator. It's got a better scale on it. Not ideal, but better. But it's got litres per minute and cubic feet per minute. And stupidly, I set it to the cubic feet per minute to about 12 or 15. And that's about half the flow rate that it should be, because 12 cubic feet per minute is about 6 litres per minute. So I've been under-gassing. I've not been getting the right gas shielding. So I've just turned it up. Another mistake, and I'm about to do the first weld after that. And I'll see if it's better. It's a bit of a spot weld, just putting some hooks on here. But let's see if we notice any difference. I definitely think that was better. Definitely. Weld it with your eyes shut. Right. Good and strong. Roughly in the middle is about there. So good old marking side cutters, just so the chains are more or less vertical. It's not important. Not important. Right, let's start some cleaning up.
Someone to save me, no, and don't come running and blame me. From miles away I can tell that something's off. The way you look and how you pause when you talk, I think I said enough. You said your love for me something brand new. You said this is something you would never do. Here we are in your car, let me see who you are, who you really are, yeah. Don't need you here to say you're sorry, 'cause if you're gonna leave me, then just do it. Don't take it slow, don't be gentle, no, I just gotta know. If you're gonna leave me, then just do it. other than me that can make you feel the way you feel when I hold you. I think I said enough. You said your love for me something brand new. You said this is something you would never do. Here we are in your car. Let me see who you are, who you really are. Yeah, don't need you here to say you're sorry.
I think that's almost it for now. The idea behind this is I'm just getting rid of all the paint and all the rust, the thick rust, with this paint and rust removing wheel. We are going to blast it. It's going to be grit blasted, but unless I hire a compressor, which I'm going to do at some stage when we start doing some of the bulk work, but unless I hire that compressor just for this small job, my grit blaster is a little bit underpowered. It'll be great for surface texturing, getting into those corners and things. It works well, it's just a bit slow as you've seen. But if I sit here grit blasting all the paint off and everything, I'll use a lot of media, I'll be here forever. So I'm going to surface prepare it first with this wheel, and then we'll grit blast it, and then we'll start painting it. But for now, that's it. It's Thursday. I've got to go and make a video tonight now. I'll be up all night, so you've got it tomorrow on Friday. Anyway, thumbs up, subscribe button, hype button. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.
'Cause if you're gone